Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second day of Cards Middle East. I hope the first day went well. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Hassan Abu Helwah from Emaratech. We are working on eIDs and ePassport project solution. I decided to talk about the proposal responses as something related to business, not more technical. We'll talk about points to watch when you have a proposal and you want to prepare the response for that proposal. Then I will show you some sample RFP and its responses. The culture is very important factor when it comes to like such a project. It's national-wise project. eID, electronic IDs, and ePassport. It's national-wise. So you have to understand the culture. I mean, in the Middle East, there is different culture for, like Asia or Euro. So the culture is very important when it comes to proposal. For example, usually the government will announce if they need the new passport or government ID, so they will hire consultant. The consultant will work with them on requirement engineering, then they will come up with the RFP. For you, let's say if you are a vendor and you want to reply to this response, you have to be professional and you have to be, you have to consider the consultant in the middle between the government and the vendor. So the consultant will be specialized and professional in such projects. So culture, I think, is very important factor. First of all, before doing the requirement engineering, before doing the pricing, you have to consider the culture. This is first point. Second point, the eID and ePassport are already complex project, and procurement process is also complex. It will start basically with the planning process will come from the government. If they decided to use ePassport or eID, they will plan for their specification. Then it will go for requesting offers. Requesting offers, I mean, they will issue tenders or proposal for public. So now, here it will come the responses. The responses will come after requesting offers. You have to read the RFP, then response for it properly. Evaluation process is also very important, but it will be done by the consultant side, not from the vendor. Then award and contract management. Okay, the proposal addresses the following aspects for a turnkey system. This is the main subject for any proposal for such projects. Executive summary, then background of the participating companies, delivery approach and methodology, project management, software components, hardware components, supplies and services, hardware requirement and sizing, post-deployment support plan. First of all, you have to prepare checklist. Now, I am expecting you as a vendor. You want to reply for the government for such a project. The checklist should contain the technical proposal. We'll go through this list now. Technical proposal, then commercial proposal, certification letter from equipment manufacturers, commitment letter from partners in case of consortiums, 5 reference letter for lead contractor, 1 reference letter for each partner, audited financial statement for, let's say, 2004-05, at least 3 years, a product sheet for hardware, a product sheet for software, a proof of certification for hardware, software license agreement. This is component of, this is the checklist. You should start from first point and then go through this list in case of, let's say, if you want to deliver it one by one. Again, ICAO 9303, basically any consultant in such a project, they will be ICAO specialist. So the RFP itself, it will be based on ICAO 9303. And as a vendor, you have to consider the response in line with ICAO document and other relevant ICAO guidelines. One more point, consult ICAO Implementation and Capacity Building Working Group, ICBWG. This is the second group in ICAO. They can help you to confirm ICAO compliance and provide other services such as training, requirements engineering, and testing. Okay. Usually, eID and ePassport requirement, there is, says vendors want to sell or implement what they have, not necessarily what you want or need. Sometimes you have hardware or you have, let's say, software, it will do 90% of the requirement, right? But it's not 100% what the government needs. So you have to consider exactly what the requirement needs, not necessarily what you have. If you have already product, but it's not 100% meet the requirement, so you have to think about the response again. For example, here I mentioned our consortium has studied your requirement carefully and proposed an integrated solution that relies on the following seamlessly integrated technologies. Now, let's talk a little bit technical. I mentioned here 3 categories: systems or software and system, then hardware, devices, and services and supplies. This is example of one RFP. First module, I mentioned here all modules required in the system. First one, it was portrait capture software, signature capture software, fingerprint capture software, facial recognition, card personalization software, card IC encoding, passport personalization software. This is divided as modules, part of software. Then in the hardware, we have scanner, fingerprint sensor, smart card reader, card personalization, as well as in the consumables and services, I mentioned ePassport booklet and inlay, ePassport chip, smart cards, dual interface cards. This is all requirement from one of the proposal. It was in Africa. So these modules will start, as we said, with the checklist, the commercial offer. The commercial offer will have 3 sections, summary budget in the form of the following table. So now we are writing the response for the proposal. We've seen the requirement. It was table of software, hardware, services, and supplies. After we study the requirement, we'll come up with the budget. This is the summary budget. It should be first thing for the software, hardware, supplies and services, training, installation and integration with civil registry, testing and deployment of software. This is the summary. So you should put this table like this. Reference price list. For example, in such a project, we need at least, let's say, 3 million of ePassport and 3 million of eID. So we need reference from the manufacturer company. I am talking about, we are as system integrator, the main contractor. As I mentioned, the main contractor will have so many subcontractors. One for the personalization, the other one for capture. So you need a reference price list. You have to submit these documents with the proposal. For, let's say, BVC card, 64 KB, then you need reference price list for volume-based customized over laminate, reference price list for volume-based standard over laminate, and reference price list for volume-based blank ePassport books. So this reference price list, it's not coming from the main contractor. It should come from the supplier, right? So just attach this price list for volume-based, based on the quantity. Let's say if we have 2 million, so you have to mention this is price for 2 million passport, 2 million booklet, okay? Now, the detailed budget for the software. Before, we mentioned the summary budget. Now we'll go through the detailed budget. We'll start with one by one. You remember the modules we mentioned? Now we'll start with portrait capture software. We have here number of servers, number of processors for each server, named user, let's say 200. That means the portrait capture will be used in 200 systems. And number of active database record, 4 millions. 4 millions mean total residents or citizen in this country, 4 million. So we need to capture 4 million. You have to consider this thing in your software. When you choose the software, you have to consider this requirement. Now, your answer will come in operating on a client workstation. Is it working on the client workstation or it needs server? You have to put here yes, yes, yes for each component. Then operating system, you have to be specific. This is the response, right? So Windows XP, Vista compatible, you have to mention yes, yes for each software. API.NET Control, JPEG, this is the requirement for the portrait, should be JPEG. And equality check, it should be ISO ICAO standard for the shadow, hotspots, etc. Arabic English interface for the software itself. Then last thing, the subtotal. This is only one component of the software. So we, let's say as Emaratech, as the main contractor for this project, will choose X company to do the portrait capture, right? So this subtotal will come from that company. They will provide for us, we'll give them this requirement. We have to capture photo for 4 million people and it will be installed in 200 BC. So what is the price? Whatever quotation you got it, just put it in this table. Again, maybe you need facial recognition software. This is the requirement. It's mentioned as table, one-to-one match, one-to-N match, server application, and it should be Oracle. This is whatever requirement comes from the proposal itself. You have to put it and you put check support. I mean, it is supporting this feature or not. Then subtotal. This is second software. Now hardware. There is other software. I just mentioned two, the portrait capture and the face recognition. It has so many, you have to, first thing, you have to split it as modules. The solution itself is very complex project. eID and ePassport is very complex. So you have to consider, make it as modules. The detailed budget for the hardware, I here mention an example for 10 print fingerprint scanner. We need 200 unit. I mentioned I was expected to have 10 units per each enrollment site. So we have, I here supposed to be, have 20 enrollment site. If we have 20 enrollment sites, and we need in each site 10 units, so total we'll have 200 units, right? Yeah, so 8 per enrollment branch and 2 spares for each branch. It should be 4-4-2. I mean, four fingers from the right hand, 4 for the left hand, then 2 thumbs. And NIST compliant and USB. You put here the subtotal for this quantity, 200 units. Also fingerprint sensor and the smart card. Let's say each enrollment branch have 3. And total we have 20 branch, so it will come to 60 units. You should give this quotation for 60 units. Fingerprint sensor and the smart card reader. In one piece, huh? One device should have the fingerprint sensor and the smart card reader, both 2 in 1. And ICAO compliant with USB, the subtotal. Okay, now another example for supplies and services. We need pre-printed cards, 2.5 million. ID, smart card, contact card. It depends on the requirement. Whatever I put here, it depends on the requirement. Contact card, it might be also contact and contactless. So Here we need ID smart card contact only, 64 KB microcontroller, PCB VC, and pre-printed 4x4 colors. Security feature like microprint, UV, optical variety link ink. This is another also physical specification. What you need to do, you have to put the unity price for each one, and this feature you should put yes. I mean, it is supporting this feature. Again, passport books, we need initially 2 million, and it should be 48 pages, 128 KB microcontroller with security feature, watermarks, fine lines overlapping with portrait, multicolor gouache, and microtext, OVI, UV printing, all recommended security feature by ICAO, and whatever the government decided to put in this book, it should be here, and you have to be specific that this feature, it cannot be replaced with another feature. It should be literally as it is, and as well as the subtotal. This is what we're talking about. It was the commercial offer, the commercial proposal, summary budget, then detailed budget for software, then hardware, supplies and services. The other section in the proposal should have implementation approach. So you as main contractor, you want to do this system for such government, you have to show them how you will implement this, how you will implement this project, and what approach you will choose to implement this project. So you can put in the proposal the program management and release management. This is just a diagram to show you have developers here and tester here. How you implement, it depends on your company, it depends on the main contractor, how they will do the software itself. So it is good to put it in the proposal, how you implementation approach. Then project management. Yeah, a project management chart, you should put another chapter in the proposal response, what you will do in initiation and planning phase, how you will manage the project. Because it is, as I said, it's a huge project, it's mega project, it's not like a 3 months project and that's it. And what you will do in design and development phase, then the testing phase, who will test it, how you will guarantee this is very much security project. Then the deployment phase, deadline, milestone, when you will deploy, how it will be. Okay, this is another chapter in the response, should be project management. Service deliverable acceptance process. Also, you have to put in the proposal response how you will deliver these deliverables. For example, we have deliverables, and the project manager will prepare a service deliverable acceptance form. Once you have done the project, it will go for delivery, right? So the project manager will prepare this form, then forward with the respective service deliverable to the customer project manager. Basically, it will be the consultant. The consultant will take care of these deliverables. Then the customer representative, which is the consultant, will determine whether the service deliverable meets the requirement and defined in the system, statement of work, in the statement of work, and that the service deliverable is complete. The consultant will decide. Basically, the consultant will have, tens of years of experience on the ePassport and eID, either physical feature or technical feature.
Ladies and gentlemen, the conference is about to begin. Please can you make your way to the conference room? Thank you.
Once the consultant agree and accept these deliverables, they will either accept the service or will provide a written reason for rejecting it. So you as main contractor also, you have to put this thing in the proposal response. You have to say how you will deliver, what is the criteria for acceptance, you have to be specific in such a project. I put here just some contractual terms. This is not necessary to be in the proposal, but also you can attach your policy as main contractor, policy or sample of your contracts term, like products, description, quantity and type, country of origin, packing. Then you can mention the prices, effective date of contract, shipment, payment, penalty of delay in payment or delivery, and contract termination, system acceptance date, system warranty, application and system software license, arbitration, confidentiality and copyright liability. It's optional if you want to put it, so the consultant will see how is the legal side from your company, so they will understand what exactly the mentality of your company in case of contracts. So maybe your proposal is fine, but when it comes to contract, you will not agree on such articles. So I think it's better to attach this stuff in the proposal. So again, as I said, this is the proposal addresses the following aspect: executive summary, background of the participating companies. This is also very important. As a main contractor, you will have, let's say, 6 or 7 subcontractors. You should attach the history and the company profile for your subcontractor also. And commitment letter from them. They are committed to work with you in such a project. Then delivery approach and methodology, project management, software components, hardware components, supply and services, hardware requirement and sizing, post-deployment support plan. This is the minimum requirement for any response of a proposal. And whatever requirement is coming from the consultant, you should also respond for that, right? But it has to be there as it is. Whatever you feel that the government asking for something extra, also you should respond as well. That's it. Any question? Yes, please.
Go. Yeah, okay. Well, very good presentation.
Thank you.
It's a good training. In your presentation, basically, you are showing the first phase of citizen ID. Means the enrollment and the insurance.
Right.
What is missing here is the major part of a project, that is the deployment and also the infrastructures. What about this part, basically? Because here we are taking the enrollments, we are taking the insurance. That is relatively easy to do today. But what the challenge from the governments today is how we implement the infrastructures in order that these nice smart cards can work across the country and can be used by authorities, functionaries, and also citizens. What about this? Because most of the time we are showing all the time the same presentations, but we are missing really, it's like you deploy a mobile phone and you don't have the telecoms.
Right. I mentioned, maybe not clearly, but I said in the project management, the deployment phase. The deployment phase, I mean that how you will deploy, but I didn't mention about the infrastructure itself, because it depends on depends on the country. They will maybe hire another company to do the infrastructure only. You just focus, you are specific on the system, the software and hardware, and the infrastructure will be provided by some other company. Once you announce the deployment and rollout, all, let's say 20 branches in each city, it will be ready for you. Just deploy the hardware and software. This is one approach. And as I said, this depends on the requirement. If the proposal itself, there is article that asking you what is the price for the infrastructure. You also, it's easy, you can reply for the infrastructure. But from the vendor, they want just to worry about dates and deliverable, right? The delivery itself depends on the, let's say, if the deadline is tight, so for sure they have to start early for infrastructure, right? So it will be ready once the deployment due.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It was a nice presentation. I think it was just it was a guidelines to response to a RFP rather than pointing to a specific project.
Right.
Correct. So in that case, it was a nice you have given under the steps what we have to follow to respond to an RFP. Correct.
Right. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Also, something I feel that you have it would be better if you can have some more references like the case studies or testimonials, which you can include in your proposal. So that will really help the customer to choose your.
Open. I will show you the one slide checklist. It's there. That's it. Here. Certification letter from equipment manufacturers and commitment letter from partners in case of consortiums, 5 reference letter for lead contractor. Okay. So the main contractor should provide 5 reference letter in such country-wide or national-wide projects.
I think that will answer your question that so that all complex designs and in the project, this kind of project can mention in our proposal. That will give the customer more confidence to go with your proposal. Yeah.
Yes. So it is very important to know that the software and hardware, it's available. As you see now, you can go through these shops and you will find all software and hardware for eID and ePassport. But the question is, who is the main contractor? Who will own the project? Once you have the project, you will find, let's say, 5 passport printer here and another 10 card printer. So it's easy to find the subcontractor and the provider, the vendor for the software, let's say software or hardware. But you need a big company to have the contract itself awarded. And we are not talking about corruption. I'm talking about straightforward and the professional environment. In corruption, I don't know how they will choose the company, but for professional consultant, when it comes to professional consultant, they will decide and evaluate the proposal response. They will choose for sure. They will not consider only price. Such a project, price is last thing is considered, because government will, most of them, they will assign a huge budget for such a project. They will consider the reference and how big is the company to be the main contractor in such a project. That's it. Anyway, we are in Emaratech. We will help you we will help you in writing proposal and evaluation for your components. If you have any proposal and you want to respond, we can help you how to respond and how to evaluate your product and software, which is you will use it. That's it. All right. Thank you very much.